Guys, there is so much news out here today. This is the first time in a long time. I know that this means absolutely nothing to anybody who's out there, but I'm recording all 3 videos that are coming out today on the very day. YouTube's being kind of queer when it comes to monetization, and I've got to talk about this stuff because there is so much stuff that's going on. There's not even enough time outside of this one mention because it's such B-level stuff in the grand scheme of today's news cycle that Joe Biden formally announced his re-election campaign. Wow, you released a TikTok video in the middle of the night and nobody cares. 81 million votes there. Yeah, can't be wrong. Unbelievable. But what is actually, and kind of hilarious if you just take a look at it holistically, you have the firing of a news personality, somebody that hosted a cable news show. Okay, that story right there overshadows the re-election announcement of the sitting president of the United States. That tells you the disproportionate amount of attention, and rather the disproportionate amount of appreciation one side gets over the other. Like 81 million votes, man. But anyways, yeah, that's more than even anybody on the Biden campaign cares about that. What's still funny about all this stuff, even in light of another firing that happened yesterday, and yeah, Don Lemon has been out there on this stroll with a couple of his tiny dogs in a bathrobe, just gonna go see his sick friend at the hospital. But on the other side of this, outside of just rampant speculation, I haven't heard a goddamn thing about what Tucker Carlson is doing, okay? My speculation, what I'm thinking for sure, he's going to go independent. He's at a point where he is bigger than any platform that could theoretically put him on. There's no other cable news show. Sure, they might have the money, but he's bigger than anybody that's out there. And he's still a reasonably young man. I think he's only in his 50s. He might be approaching 60, but he still has a bunch of good years ahead of him, and he's on an upward trajectory. It's not like he was too much of a pain in the ass behind the scenes, which, outside of a couple of spurious lawsuits saying he made my life a living hell. No, he probably had certain standards in place for the people that worked around him, and if he didn't meet that, you got out the way. But with all of that aside, okay, like Tucker's going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and this very stupid martyring situation that Fox News just anointed and laid at his feet, it makes no sense at all whatsoever, and the fact that he is super quiet about this outside of just super speculation, well, the only thing we can do is take a look at some of his previous statements as well, see what we can glean from them, and then move on accordingly. This is a clip from and I've recommended it multiple different times, especially on the streams that I do, which we'll be doing one here in a little bit, probably by the time this goes out, very, very shortly. Very, very shortly. And then we got a couple other videos. Like I said, huge news day, but there will be one here tonight, and then another one on Saturday, and then a Rumble exclusive one on Sunday where we can get super spicy. But Luke Rudkowski, one of the very, 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 very few decent people that are associated with the Tim Pool brand, tweeted out this clip. Yes, this clip is very telling to probably what happened to Tucker. Yeah, exactly. And I've watched, for clarification's sake, I've watched the Full Send podcast that Tucker's done, and he comes across as a very personable individual. If you're only accustomed to Tucker on his show, it's a very different look, one that I kind of recommend for him, and the reason that I think that, yeah, when he goes independent, outside of the non-compete clause, which I would imagine is probably a part of the separation. I'm sure he got paid handsomely to just leave for a second. And then, yeah, once that duration's out, like 30, 60, 90 days, well, he can go do whatever the hell he wants. Probably going to make Rumble a whole hell of a lot of money because, let's be completely honest, exactly. It's like, okay, yeah, he's going to be bigger than any of the news stations that are out there. So if he wants to go and be the voice of a movement somewhere else, Rumble seems like the logical place. Or if Kick wants to finally diversify outside of just, stupid gambling streams, I would take a look at that. Don't know how deep their pockets are, but anyways, they'd have to be pretty deep. So, like I said, we got some clips here today. We got some clips, and the first and foremost is simply the speculation behind Tucker. So, let her rip, shall we?
I've spent my whole life in the media. My dad was in the media. Like, that is a big part of the revelation that's changed my life, is the media are part of the control apparatus.
Yo, that's always been the case. I don't know if full send, even if it's like a Twitter clip or anything, copyrights their stuff, but I'm going to be adding context on this. And if you don't like it, well, you don't have to be here. But yeah, the media apparatus, and the more you know about it, to be completely honest, like even the days whenever boomers will say, oh, I miss the days of Walter Cronkite. He was still very much a lefty talking point pushing idiot. And was that Walter Cronkite who the first editorialization at the 6 o'clock news where he takes off all exasperated, he takes off his glasses, the Vietnam War is not one that the American people can win. That was a peek behind the curtain, and it's only gotten worse since then. So yes, Tucker's come around to this a realization, and now, well, there's a pretty decent reason why he's no longer there.
There's no... Yeah, I know, because you're younger and smarter, and you're like, yeah. But what if you're me and you spent your whole life in that world, and to look around and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow,
yeah, that's a big shock, especially just think about it. Okay, you work at a mom and pop store or something like that, and you think that there's a way up that you can move through the company, and then you realize that, oh no, they want me to be in that position, right? There's no upward mobility in any company that's out there. You just get undercut and done dirty when you think that there's actual opportunity there. That's what Tucker's finding out, but for an entire industry, it's a bit shocking.
Not only are they part of the problem, but I spent most of my life being part of the problem, defending the Iraq War. Like, I actually did that. Can you imagine if you did that?
Who else in the media would actually admit that they've made mistakes before, back when he has nothing to gain by, just setting the record straight about, I supported the Iraq War. That was really stupid. Nobody else is going to do that. Everybody else is just say, we were going on at the time. They take a look at everybody who's still in Congress from back in the cut. Oh yeah, they all supported that war. They voted overwhelmingly for it. And now, it was kind of nuanced. And That's why they don't like him, because he's actually honest, more or less.
Well, what do you think? What is one of your biggest regrets in your career?
Oh, defending the Iraq War.
That is it?
Well, I've had a million regrets. Not being more skeptical, calling people names when I should have listened to what they were saying. Look, when someone makes a claim, there's only one question that's important at the very beginning, which is the claim true or not?
Yeah, and so many people in not just media. That was one of those things, okay, when I was growing up, maybe a little bit of a naive kid. I think I told this on a stream before, but it's a story worth repeating, especially in the context of this. When I was growing up, even to this day, I'm not the first person who's going to be, just announcing my presence when I go into anywhere. I'm not going to be the guy who's just merely with my vote or with my ability to enunciate my thoughts just to go in there and take over a room. What I'm going to do is I'm going to size it up and take a look around, because when I was growing up, I always thought whenever anybody, this was always my deference to authority popping in. Okay, I would always think that if somebody was talking on a subject, they understood it fully. Like what they were saying was true, and okay, cool. Well, if you don't know something about something, well, you don't talk about it. And then the big realization that, oh man, most people are just blowing smoke. Wow, that kind of hit me like a freight train in on and around. I was kind of slow to the party on that one, maybe like 18, 19 years old when I started to realize that, like my teachers only know what's in the syllabus. They don't quite know anything outside of that. Oh, wow. I've been lied to this entire time. Not by anybody specifically, not by my parents or anything like that. Just kind of by, society. When you take people and you just see them, it's like, no, you engage them in good faith, but then realizing that that's just not the case. It's really not.
So I say, you committed murder or you rigged the last election before you
allegedly
attack me as a crazy person for saying that. Maybe you should explain whether you did it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for too long, I participated in the culture where I was like, anyone who thinks outside these pre-prescribed lanes is crazy, is a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, no, one of the many realizations that I also had as well. It's like, okay, people are going to talk about this, and then it's verifiable. And then you take a look at it, and it's like, that's actually the opposite of what you're saying.
And I just really regret that. I'm ashamed that I did that. And partly it was age, partly it was the world that I grew up in. So when you look at me and you're like, yeah, of course they're part of the means of control, I'm like, that's obvious to you because you're 28, but I just didn't see it at all. And I'm ashamed of that.
Isn't that what the media tries to do, though?
It's their only purpose.
Right.
They're not here to inform you. Really? even on the big things that really matter, like the economy and war and COVID and like things that really matter that will affect.
And what are they supposed to do? Like, what is the entire purpose of the fifth estate? Is to inform the population. But if you take a look through history, man, like, that's maybe something we'll have to do in the future. But they don't actually care about the truth. They care about ratings, and it's becoming more and more obvious.
Affect you. No, their job is not to inform you. They are working for the small group of people who actually run the world. They're their servants. They're their Praetorian Guard. And we should treat them with maximum contempt because they have earned it.
And that's why he's no longer at Fox. I thought that was a good tone setter because now we got, oh my God. Okay, so we got all of the responses to this stuff as well. And yo, man, The View reacting to Tucker leaving Fox. This came up, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, this wasn't that long after Tucker officially did get the boot from Fox. At least that's what it's being reported as. Okay, they say, oh, it's a mutual parting of ways, but then you also hear that Murdoch senior had a lot of pull behind this situation. So yeah, it's interesting to say the least.
Word has just come down that Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so the seals are going to be clapping. It's The View, after all, and I'll try to shield you guys as best as possible and stopping as much as is appropriate. Hopefully not on anybody's stupid face, because they're all just so atrocious. But at the same time, and then also learning this in retrospect, they didn't talk about this at all, and the news broke just about simultaneously that Don Lemon also got pitched out of CNN. They didn't want to talk about that, but then today they had something that was like, well, he said some problematic things. Unbelievable. And again, just imagine somebody, theoretically, like Tucker's going to be fine, but imagine just a bunch of cat piss stinking box wine enthusiast single women in the crowd cheering somebody losing their job. Well, they all work for the government, or they all just have safe and secure jobs, so they're never going to have to worry about putting, and providing for other people, putting food on the table for a family. But this is a guy whose livelihood, at least in the way that he knows it, has been taken out from underneath of him. And you think anybody else? Well, if it wasn't Tucker, if this was anybody else, if this was Carl Tuckerson, okay, they would have a difficult time out there once they, they get fired, and the economy the way that it is, they aren't exactly handing out multi-million-dollar deals, or hell, even the multi-thousand-dollar deals at this point in time. So, yep, they're just all clapping the demise of an individual. Just disgusting people, not just physically, but internally as well.
Thank you for his service to the network and host of the prior contributor. Wave.
Oh, it's so nice that Whoopi's wearing the striped pajamas. Care to have any spicy Dem Boys takes?
Come on, folks. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na.
Imagine, like, when The View eventually gets canceled, or they all just, I don't know, succumb to their cysts, nobody's even going to remotely come close to caring. Oh, okay, somebody will hear, oh my God, did you hear The View was canceled? What's The View? Yeah, so that just goes to show you, if you've pissed off the likes of anyone on that table, that very sizable, sturdy table, nobody's going to care. Nobody is going to care, okay, when they end up getting the axe. But when it's the other way around and they have somebody to hold up as a perfect example of, yes, we need to celebrate his cancellation. Come on, man.
He is responsible for the degradation that we see somewhat of our democracy in this country. And I just
imagine having that much influence. Like, he's just a humble cable news host, but theoretically, man, you guys preach to all of those, single women that are out there, and we know which way that they end up voting for the policies that are in place right now at about a 68% clip. Interesting. So the degradation of society, you would rather chalk up to a guy that has a 1-hour show every weekday, as opposed to the people that you talk to directly. All right. Or just also goes to show you, because I don't think there's a lot of crossover, at least in good faith engagement, with the Tucker Carlson, show that was on, as opposed to the women that watch this stuff during the day. Okay, like, it just shows you that you guys don't really add that much to society. If you want to chalk up, all the great influence that Tucker has, talking to a bunch of boomers, and it's like, okay, cool. Really, really spurned on all of those terrible right-wing protests when the left wing was burning cities down. You guys were, nope, they were out there for racial justice.
Just think, as a faithful person, look at God. Look at God.
Well, and
you don't even know the faith. I'm not going to be one to, question her religiosity, but come on now. Okay. Trying to say that a man losing his job is somehow the machinations of the Lord. I don't really know about that, but apparently, Sonny Hostin there knows way more than everybody else.
Russian propaganda hardest hit. I mean, he's been the biggest purveyor of pro-Russian talking points.
Yeah. What the oh my God. That's the token conservative, right? Is that I don't even know, man. Hopefully the next person that comes in at least has a chin.
So it's a good day for the Ukrainians.
Karma doesn't lose anyone's address.
No.
So
Word has just come down that Fox News Media.
Yuck. I don't need to hear any of them again. But yeah, no, outright celebration. But it was one of those things, right? I think I made mention of this, okay? And yeah, we got more clips, regrettably. So AOC on Sunday was with, I can't believe she named her show this, but Inside with Jen Psaki. Yeah, it just goes to show you the media to government pipeline is ever flowing, especially if you just parrot the talking points. So I don't know who watches this, but at least, hey, they got the big catch and have an AOC on there who stumped the day before, who stumped vociferously for the at least the curtailing of Tucker Carlson. And I remember hearing this clip, and we'll watch it, of course. It's a day of clips, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we're gonna hear this clip, and yeah, now AOC is taking credit for this because I don't know why. She has nothing better going on in her life. Just, yeah, you're going to see some similarities between the View broads and AOC.
Organizations or social media platforms should be accountable for the role.
God, I thought I'd never have to hear her stupid voice again, but actually, no, now she's on MSNBC. Nobody hears her voice anymore.
For being platforms for incitement.
I believe that when it comes to broadcast television, like Fox News, these are subject to federal law, federal regulation.
Well, kind of, for the fact that they need to have appropriate labeling, but outside of that, saying that they have any sort of speech code that needs to be enforced, that's a little bit outside the federal government's purview. But then again, when it comes to the law and constitution, you don't need to know that thing at all when you are a congresswoman. Great, fantastic.
In terms of what's allowed on air and what isn't. And when you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is
like which ones? Can you give one example? One example, please.
Very, very clearly incitement of violence.
Oh, okay. Like
very
what?
Clearly
One example. One example.
Incitement of violence. And that is the line that I think we have to be willing to contend with. And
yeah, we should have the ability to just curtail anybody's freedom of speech because you know what? We don't like them because they have untoward influence with people that are out there, and we're supposed to have license on propaganda, god damn it. So yeah, that was the clip that went around yesterday morning. Okay, AOC saying that yeah, we need to curtail Tucker Carlson. Fantastic, wonderful. Another day, another stupid AOC take. But, of course, after the news dropped that Tucker is out at Fox, well, she goes on last night and on, I don't know, Instagram or some shit like that. But, yeah, we'll figure it out. And the only thing that I'm kind of jealous for, because I've watched at least some of this beforehand, she got those auto subtitles. And, for sure, it's like, how do you do that? I just want to know that.
Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News.
Look at how happy she is. Oh, okay, again, somebody, an American citizen, lost their job, and you're happy for that. Okay, well, he won't be voting for you, or he doesn't actually, he's not one of your constituents. And then at the same time, well, he's also not going to take welfare or any government handouts. So, yeah, I don't know why you're so happy about this. Yeah, about time and look at all those simps in the chat. It's like, yeah, she's married to some, I don't know, just anthropomorphic footstool, but still, bro, like she's not gonna step on you, pal.
couldn't have happened to a better guy.
This is a member of government saying that an American citizen is a less than reputable individual. For what? For what exactly?
What I will say, though, is...
See, here's the thing. She's never going to have to worry about being out of a job, because you take a look at her career trajectory. She went through college, Boston University. Y'all remember the dancing, dancing sweatshirt or t-shirt video where she had her college right across her, let's be completely honest, decent set of tits. So she went from college to become a bartender, which is not exactly the most difficult job to come across. And then again, in New York City, like, there's how many different clubs that you can be a bartender at? And then, yeah, from there, and then you just get an easy job, or you get a congressional job, so you work directly for the government, so consistent paychecks, in one of the safest, the Democrat districts that are out there. What we're seeing right here is if Instagram was around in the 1970s, okay? This is Nancy Pelosi with a Hispanic accent, okay? Or at least last name, she doesn't really, she doesn't really play up her accent unless she's around her people.
While I'm very glad that the person that was arguably responsible for some of the largest, driving some of the most amounts of death threats and violent threats, not just to my office, but to plenty of people across the country.
Again, show them, or it didn't happen.
I also kind of feel like...
We know that you just want to yell and scream, but imagine just living rent-free in her head like that. Like, listen, the moment he fires up a live stream anywhere, he's going to dwarf all of the simps that you have in your chat, and it's not even going to be close. Like, there is no independent left-wing creator online that drives even a fraction of a percentage of the amount of traffic that Tucker can, that we've seen Steven Crowder maintain, which we're going to talk about that in the next video. Little spoiler for what's coming up as well. But Tucker's, I believe, the best at what he does. Like, he's even better than Rogan, who you guys well, not you guys, but that cabal of idiots absolutely detests. So what do they offer? What do they offer as a solution? Just tear it all down, and then what? Rebuild it with shows that nobody watches, influencers that nobody cares about. Fantastic. I'm so glad you're in government where you're supposed to provide solutions for the American people. But what do you say? Just tear it down because he was mean to me once. Fantastic. He probably called you googly eyes, but then again, come on now.
I'm like waiting for the cutscene at the end of a Marvel movie after all the credits have rolled.
This is how these idiots also perceive their life. They think that they are characters in a movie, okay, that everything just needs to follow that same arc of these, bitch-made Marvel films that are out there. Did you guys see the Flash trailer that came out today? Oh my god, get excited for next product. No, but that's the way that they see themselves. They think they're in the movie. They think that they're the good guy fighting those dastardly news correspondents, like the one that you don't control, okay?
And then you see, like, the villain's, like, hand reemerge out to grip over like the end of a building or something. But
and that's the end of that analogy. Okay, good one.
Deplatforming works.
Oh, there we go. That's exactly what you want to see. Somebody who is stumping for, we can't have any of that inflammatory language that's out there. No, we can't have that. But cancel culture on the other side. Ooh, goody. That's our weapon. We can use that.
And it is important. And there you go. Good things can happen.
I don't know. It just seems like it's missing something like subscribe to my OnlyFans at the end. What an absolute retard. But that's a member of Congress, man, and I don't think Tucker's going to be shedding too many tears over this revelation that, yeah, AOC is going to go ahead and take credit for Tucker leaving, which eventually, when we get the skinny on what did happen behind the scenes at Fox News, long and short of it is she's probably not going to have anything to do with that. But that's, well, can't say I'm shocked or surprised by any of that stuff anyways, that AOC gets it wrong. What is it, a day that ends in Y? So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.